You're listening to Honey, We Made a Disney Podcast. Two friends since collecting Pogs was trendy. Now dads reliving the Disney movies we grew up on with our own kids. I'm Eddie Ferguson.
And I'm JB Waggoner. And on today's episode, we consider eating more onions in our diet as we review Holes. But before that, Eddie, how are you and the family doing?
We all have colds.
Oh no. You're going to struggle through tonight. This is your struggle game tonight.
Well, it's been going on for a little bit. It all started with Louis, who for the past week has been waking up randomly in the middle of the night multiple times.
Of course.
Contemplating such complex life questions like 2:30 in the morning, comes to my side of the bed. Daddy, when I get big like you, can I wear glasses?
Tell him, no, you don't want that on yourself.
To which I just responded, go to bed. Go back to bed.
You didn't answer it with your own philosophical response?
I felt like saying, your DNA is so stacked against you in this moment. Yes, you're going to end up with glasses. It's like, look at your whole family. Your mom, your dad, everybody. We all wear glasses. You're screwed on this one. But I don't know if you feel this way or how it flows in your family, but I always feel like I'm the last. Like I'm always the last to get sick. And as soon as the second one gets sick, it's just a ticking time bomb. It's like, okay, so if this is Tuesday, that means about Sunday or Monday, it's going to hit me. And you're just like waiting. So yeah, this morning I woke up and I'm like, oh, I'm feeling it back here. It's all hitting me. So everybody's grumpy, lots of wipey nose, all that fun, gross parental stuff. But
the only thing worse than being sick is when your partner is also sick at the same time. That's like, it's unfair. It's like,
right, because luckily this time around, Sarah got sick early. She's doing better. Now I'm coming down with it. And let's be honest, we men are not good sick.
No.
And so it's good for multiple reasons that we don't get sick at the same times as our wives. So
there's something about having like, okay, knowing that there's the other person can kind of handle the kids, and then you're able to handle the kids when they're not feeling well and helping you and stuff like that. When you're both like exhausted and it becomes okay, whose turn is it now to use up all of their strength for the next 3 hours just to get a drink of water for your daughter. That's probably another level of hell right there.
When we were both, this happened earlier in the year when we were both sick at the same time, we literally just barricaded them into the living room. No lie. And it was like, just line up the juice and the snacks and everything like a buffet. Like Bluey on repeat, and we went and laid in the other room. It's just like, and luckily we have a camera in our living room, so we could like peek in and be like,
"Stop!
Everybody's still alive
from that.
Don't do that." Yeah, and just shout through the speaker. But
I love that.
Yes, but I'm fine with it all. It's just the multiple. As soon as we get the baby to sleep through the night, it's then the 4-year-old's turn to start waking up all the time. It's like
a regression or something. Yeah.
I need everybody to sleep at the same time all the way through. But enough about me. We have crossed the threshold and have entered the grand year of 2003.
This was a
big year for us.
Yeah, this was the end of our sophomore year, beginning of our junior year. Cars. This is when we learned how to drive in here.
This is the summer that we saw each other more than we saw our own families.
We've hit it, Eddie. We've reached that year.
This is the summer that we spent 2 weeks back to back up at Lake Ann. This is the summer that we also spent 2 weeks in Brazil, roommates.
A week.
I thought it was.
No, it's
1 week. I was only 1 week. And then we would have done the summer mission, like the Smite trip that summer as well.
Do you remember the name of the leadership camp week?
Reborn Rangers.
Reborn Rangers. What a fantastic Baptist name right there.
I love Lake Ann and still have great fond memories. That was a blast. That week, do you remember though? Because the camp was just like 1 week at a time, so they weren't really set up for somebody to do like back-to-back weeks. And remember, we had to spend the weekend with like the summer.
I kind of liked it. It was kind of interesting because we had never gotten that view of the camp before.
Like the behind the scenes, yeah.
To kind of become friends with some of the people. Yeah.
Like the adults who were in charge of us and everything. It was like nobody knew exactly what to do with us. It was a little odd, but it was fun. It was an interesting peek behind the scenes. So this was also a big year. This was the year that the Iraq War began in 2003. And from a political standpoint, I love that you included this, but this was the year when we entered the Iraq War, the French refused to join in. And I don't know if this was nationwide. It was definitely in the Midwest. Anything that had French in the name, we renamed it to Freedom. So we had the Freedom Fries.
Freedom Toast.
We had the Freedom Toast. I remember going to Flapjacks in the morning and getting our Freedom Toast. Yes. And because of all that, Saddam Hussein was captured. I forgot about...
Do you remember when I remember two things because you just touched on it, but hearing about the Iraq War, I remember Mr. G. We were in his class, and he just decided to pontificate about the fact that, guys, we're going to have something really big happen soon, and I think we're going to be going to war really soon here. And he just kind of told us all before, and was like, what are you talking about? And then next thing you know, it's all over the news, and we're like, not 9/11 stopping the day, but like kind of close to it, where teachers are kind of having a hard time focusing on things to do that. But then I definitely remember when Saddam was captured, and we were sitting. I think we were like sitting in Spanish class or something when we actually heard about it. It was like the next calendar, the next school year.
Well, and I mean, we got to remember that was just 18 months removed from 9/11.
Yeah,
really, and that was so defining. Such, that there were still so many ramifications from all of that, just in our part of the world, which was far from where it all happened. So yeah, for another thing like that to start going down, it was just like it reverberated the halls. Not reverberating the halls was Arnold Schwarzenegger becoming the governor of California. I think everybody was going, what? But the last Republican to serve, I believe, in statewide office in the state of California. California has not seen a Republican serve statewide since then, at least not in governor. I'm pretty sure also statewide. Another big moment I distinctly remember watching live. I was, as many of you know, big space nerd.
Big space guy.
Big news today: the Orion capsule landed back down on Earth, and there was a proof of the whole Artemis system. So the next test is, I believe, with humans. I think Artemis 2 is going to have humans on it. So
now, where did this one go?
Around the moon. It is the farthest from Earth that a human-rated space vehicle has ever been.
Wow.
Yeah. Have you not seen these pictures?
I am not on the in. I'm not on the in as much as you are.
This is like top of my Twitter feed. You know how you can like have your topics that you're following? It's like space, MLS, Disney, or MLS soccer, Disney, and then like national parks. That's me.
In one of those orders, yep.
But it's a really cool picture of the Orion space capsule, and it like out on one of its solar arrays, they like made like a selfie stick. Not really, but that's where they put the camera. So you see the capsule, the moon, and then the Earth behind it. It is a really cool shot. It's like, yes, here we go.
Ooh, that is a cool shot.
Yeah. Yeah. So as the big space nerd that I am, I tuned in live to watch the Space Shuttle Columbia land. And remember watching it break up midair live on TV, and then they like pull it away really quick. That was a really big deal to see. I mean, a huge disaster, huge travesty. So I distinctly remember that one happening.
So in the world of sports in 2003, we had Buccaneers winning the Super Bowl that year. The Marlins won a World Series in that time. I think this was the first of two that they won in the early 2000s. Tim Duncan wins his first of 5 NBA championships. Here, there's 3 major people that all were a big part of sport. No, this isn't his first championship. That is wrong. I am sorry, sports fans. This was not his first championship. He had won a championship already at this time. But 2 people that joined professional sports at this time, the big one of which was Ronaldo. We're in the middle of FIFA World Cup right now. Ronaldo made his Premier League debut with Manchester United at this time. And then LeBron James was drafted into the NBA. He's still kicking right now, barely holding on. Not barely, he's doing pretty well, but he is definitely starting to finally show signs that he's a human and not a cyborg right now. And then sadly, Kirk Heinrich and my Kansas Jayhawks lost to Syracuse in March Madness that year, and would then go on a couple years later to meet my roommate, who was a big Syracuse fan, and he would hold that over me for many years until we won. But I couldn't go without mentioning him, the guy, the man, the legend, Kirk Heinrich, who in his floppy long hair that made me become a Kansas Jayhawks fan that year. So
I love the color commentary on all of that.
Add a little color to it.
I sadly only know about half of those names that you just mentioned.
Ronaldo, you should know Ronaldo.
I know Ronaldo. We start the year with Chicago, the musical, winning Best Picture at the Oscars. And we end the year with the top grossing movie of the year, the one, the only, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. A defining moment of our life.
Oh, yes.
Dare I say?
And it would go on to win Best Picture the next year. Spoiler alert for 2004. It's weird. They have the awards in March of the next year.
I know.
But I just went with when the award happened. What was the thing? But yes, no. Return of the King. Amazing end to that trilogy.
I no surprise that it is the top grossing film, because I know that I saw it in theaters 9 times.
No, you did not. 9?
I did. 9 times.
Eddie, 9? I saw it 3, and I felt like I was like, you know what? That was a lot, JB. I think I fell asleep in that last one. Shocker.
I saw it 9 times, and let me tell you how I afforded this as a junior in high school. That summer, the Brownsburg Public Library held like a reading program.
What? Wait, hold up. What?
The Brownsburg Public Library. And so if you read books that summer that had been turned into movies, something like that, like a book that had been turned into a movie, and you read it that summer, like you had to check it out of the library and read it and all of that, you got entered into a drawing to win, like 10 free tickets to Regal Cinemas down in Avon.
How have we never talked about this before?
You didn't know this?
No.
So that summer, I read the 3 Lord of the Rings novels and something else. I can't remember what else I had read, but it was another movie, another book that had been turned a movie. Because, like my family would always do like big road trips and stuff like all that. And we would just love to read in the car and all around. So I would read a lot in the summers anyway. And so I was like, shoot, why not? So I entered this, and apparently like nobody else did.
That makes sense.
Because I won and got all these free movie tickets up at Regal. So, and I just held on to them. So by the time Return of the King came out, I just kept going. So I ended up seeing it 9 times in theaters. The most I've seen any movie in theaters.
Eddie, I feel like I spent so much time with you that summer, and I had no idea that you were doing this whole contest. You didn't tell me about this contest, obviously.
Because I didn't want you to win.
You don't want me to win. Maybe that's why you never mentioned it. But this wouldn't be the last time you would win a free movie ticket contest. Later on, you won the one at Regal. Or the one at the...
no, at the Goodrich, there in Brownsburg. Yeah, when I... what's crazy is they still do that, and I enter it every year. And I only won that like first time of where you guess who's going to win the Oscars, and you win all of those free tickets there. So, yes. Anywho, that was a little bit of a side trail there, but yes, I saw Return of the King. I don't know if I contributed to the overall gross because I mean it was gift certificates gifted through them, but I used them for it. 50 Cent. Let's just move on over to 50 Cent. His song "In the Club" comes out, which I remember hearing quite a lot,
over and over again,
over and over and over. And Norah Jones won the Grammy for "Don't Know Why," a song, and songs from that album still play in my house every Saturday morning. It's on the Saturday morning playlist, folks. And then this is the year we're going to get to review Pirates of the Caribbean. The, what do we even refer to? I mean, it's the behemoth of Disney franchises that they long to have another one.
Big year for
Disney. Yeah,
big year for Disney, and big year for, why is his name slipping my brain right now? Who's in both of those? Both in Pirates of the Caribbean and in Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, Orlando Bloom.
Thank you. I need to have it. I didn't even need to search it.
Is this we by the time we review Pirates of the Caribbean, we need to think about this, but is this the first like mega blockbuster, like huge gross numbers? Is this the beginning of the like tent pole movies is what studios are going to search after? Is this the beginning of that?
Potentially.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think in my brain. I know we've had other major films because there's been Titanic and other films like that.
But it feels like since we had like Lord of the Rings and Pirates of the Caribbean, we're just driven by huge box number numbers. I'll have to look this up. I'll do some research.
I mean, it was definitely a departure from we were used to series coming out based on books or comic books and things like that. But to take a ride from Disneyland and make it that successful, and they had some other bad tries like the Country Bears, let's be honest. For it to, and we're going to see Haunted Mansion in this same year as well, which didn't do very well. But like this really just soared. It really was special from the first one is still the best one of all of them too. So it like leading with a strong case.
Yeah. That we'll definitely spend a lot of time once we get to reviewing that here in just a few weeks. I also love that you included in here Ruben Studdard beats Clay Aiken in American Idol. We were all still obsessed with American Idol at this time.
This was like, so there's the Survivor Australia as like the one Survivor I watched to the bitter end. Was that this year too? Was that this year?
No.
Was it the year before?
That was the year before. That was 2002.
That one holds a special way. There, you just have those series of reality shows where like you have that one season you watched more than any other one. And for me, it was this season of American Idol, going to Pizza King on Wednesday nights with some friends.
Yep.
Hoping that some stupid person in the booth next to you wouldn't get kicked out and leave a bad name for you as well. But yeah, pushing for Clay Aiken and him losing to Ruben Studdard still hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
But Clay Aiken's had a good life. He's gone into political career. He's done lots of other things since then. And is Ruben Studdard still alive? I feel like he might have passed away, and I'm unfortunate. I don't want to say out loud, like make fun of him in some way and besmirch his. We are looking it up right now for all of you who can't hear our typewriters going quickly.
No, he's still alive.
Still alive, still kicking.
He's only 40. He's only 44 years old.
Okay. I was a little afraid, Eddie.
Well, 10 years after this, he would go to appear on the hit NBC show, The Biggest Loser.
Ooh, that's right.
But he also, they did in 2018, Ruben and Clay's first annual Christmas Carol.
Of course.
On Broadway.
First and only?
I don't know. And I don't want to look up.
I don't want to look
Don't care.
You don't want to get ads for the tickets.
No, exactly.
To that show.
Don't.
I had a real life conversation the other day where I brought up Taylor Hicks, and I was just like, what is happening with my life right now that I'm talking about him again, and he looks identical to what he looked like back in the day. Someone was asking like, what artists are you like, wondered what happened to them, and I was just like, Taylor Hicks.
Well,
he was a gimmick.
You know we're coming. Like 80s had its big resurgence. 90s stuff is really starting to come back, like nostalgia for the 90s. Not, the aughts are next.
We're going to see it.
And that's going to be really weird because I don't, besides popped collars from Abercrombie and Fitch, I don't know what else really comes back in style from that. But we'll see.
We'll also see the last few things here on our What Happened in 2003. This is the random section. The Human Genome Project completed. They finished their work. 99% of the human DNA sequenced that thing. Eddie, do you have any science things for us on this one as you're taking a drink of water?
I all I know is I have bad DNA myself, but that's about all I can say.
Super random. This one, Harley Davidson turned 100 years old that year. I don't even know why I included it. It was just in there. I was just like, wow. I didn't realize
that's early.
I didn't realize that Harley Davidson was that old. Like,
no, there's very few companies that have made it. Like you're talking like Harley Davidson, you're talking GE, you're talking Coca-Cola. This coming year in 2023, the Walt Disney Company turns 100 years old. It's, only big, yeah. So that is a big landmark.
I was surprised it was that old because I'm also like, how old are motor vehicles? Like they're barely 100 years old.
Right.
So anyways, we had the launch of the launch of the iTunes store shattered the music industry. If
1,000 songs in your pocket.
Yep.
That was the tagline. 1,000 songs in your pocket.
That was iPod. So the iPod, that was when they did it. That was actually a couple years before this. This was the iTunes store when you could actually buy
the iPod came before. I thought they were right close to each other.
2001. You had to rely on downloading music from your CDs that you bought. This was the actual launch of the store where you could go buy music, completely changing the financial aspect of the music industry. Obviously, Napster was the first one to really shatter. It was really to break the ice on it, and the iTunes store was the big shattering of it and completely threw them into a tizzy for like 20 years.
But is now gone.
The iTunes store?
Yeah, the iTunes
because they
store
rebranded it. It's just the Apple Music store. Is that what it's called? I never go on it anymore.
It's just Apple Music. Oh yeah, that's right. You're now Mr. Anti-Apple everything.
Anti-Apple everything. I've gone to Spotify. The Swedes. They've lured me in.
The Swedes. Spotify is Swedish?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Swedish company. I think gotta do some
All
research.
the more reason to double down on Apple. American, okay? I listen to American music.
Who's the one that decided, hey, we should move our show notes to Apple Notes? That was me.
I have been pushing you since the beginning of this podcast. Why are we using Microsoft?
Because I tried to use Google Drive documents, and you wouldn't allow it. You were like, no.
I just said no.
You just said no. We tried to do Apple Doc, like an Apple Doc or whatever, and it was just horrible. It was a horrible experience.
Yeah, you tried to do collaborate on Pages. Yeah, and now I'm slowly converting you over to Apple Notes. The Apple Notes is my second brain.
So let's finish this up. We got the Da Vinci Code set, a lot of records of book sales. It would then go on to make the movies. A lot of churches had to do whole series about this to try to like combat it to some degree, debunk it. I remember a couple years later, my college even did it because that's when the movies were come out. But the big one for this year, Eddie, I remember this. This is a big deal when you had your tonsils removed. That was world changing for you.
I couldn't breathe. My tonsils had swollen so large that when I went to see the doctor, no lie, I swear, he literally jumped back and went, whoa, and said he had never seen tonsils swollen that big. In fact, he brought every nurse and partner doctor in the entire practice into the consultation room to look at my tonsils, and even asked if they could keep multiple slides to be able to use for like research and like teaching purposes.
Have they reached back out with any royalties since then? Or?
I don't know. I mean, they did give me, I have biopsy slides of my tonsils if you ever want to look at them. They are housed in the Ferguson family memory cabinet.
Oh my God. Which is a whole other conversation, which I would love to know what's in the memory cabinet. What's made it.
I couldn't even sleep because when I laid flat, like my mouth would just seal shut and I would stop breathing. So there at the very end, like I had to tilt my head up and hold my throat in.
Oh my gosh.
Like push in order to breathe. It got so bad. And then what they always tell you is like the older you are, the worse a tonsillectomy is. And I remember the doctor going, this is going to be really rough. This is going to be really, really hard for you. And for 2 weeks, and they planned it. Like I took my last final, went and saw Return of the King for the first time. And then the next morning woke up and had my tonsils taken out.
The Christmas break, that's what you were doing.
I just laid, and it was miserable, so painful. The upside, kind of, the only thing I could eat for 2 weeks was popsicles. I had like popsicles and fudge-sicles for the win on that one. But yeah, that was, and still to this day, like, I'll get like a little like scratch and stuff back there. And it's like, yep. I talked to somebody else today who had their tonsils removed. And they're like, oh yeah, I got it right now too, because of the kind of the chill in the air. It's like, oh yeah, me too. So there you go. Big news. That was like days before 03 ended. So it was like, this is how I closed out 2003 was tonsils removed.
That and Y2K. Giant transformational end of the years for us. So that's it. That's all the news and happenings in 2003 to take you back in time a little bit to our childhood. But now we've got the movie you're waiting for. The reason you clicked on this episode. We are here to go back and spend a little bit of time with Shia LaBeouf a little bit as we review Holes.
Cue the Disney sound effect.
Okay, the IMDb description for Holes, which Eddie, thank you for supplying in here. I didn't have to do that this week, so thank you. I appreciate it.
I try and pitch in.
Yes. A wrongly convicted boy is sent to a brutal desert detention camp where he joins the job of digging holes for some mysterious reason.
Could this possibly be one of the best descriptions we've ever come across?
It adds a little bit of curiosity in there.
Ooh, for some mysterious reason.
Doesn't break the cardinal sins that were in here.
Yeah, we've not mentioned any actors' names.
I will say they could have done a little better with where he joined the job of digging holes. Like, feels like they could have done where the tension where he is forced to dig holes. Like that could have been a little bit stronger. But anyways,
yeah,
that's not what this
adjective punch.
That's not what this podcast is about. What it is we got to go back. Eddie, do you remember watching this when we were younger, when it came out?
I do, and I will even go back a little bit further. I remember when the book came out.
Did you read the book?
I did. I actually, so I was a big Louis Sachar fan. If you remember, you may have, like, the Wayside School stories.
Yeah.
Those were really big. So, like, I grew up reading sideways stories from Wayside School. Then you had, like, Wayside School is Falling Down, Sideways Arithmetic from Wayside School. I mean, there are literally 6 books in that series.
Eddie, this is taking me back.
And then I also read a lot of, like, his other books. You had There's a Boy in the Girl's Bathroom, The Boy Who Lost His Face. One of my favorites was Dogs Don't Tell Jokes. Most of elementary for me was reading Louis Sachar books. Like, as a childhood authors, one of my favorites, definitely in the top 5. So this book came out in 1998, and I remember this was when, like, I would go spend a week in the summers with my grandparents. And my grandma was like, hey, let's go to Barnes & Noble. And so I went to Barnes & Noble and saw that there was a new Louis Sachar book. And I was like, oh my goodness, I love him. I've read all of his other stuff. Sat down, and I think I read, like, the first quarter of the book just in one sitting in the middle of Barnes & Noble. And that was one of the things you gotta, back in the day, just sit in Barnes & Noble and not have to pay for the book. You could just read it. And my grandma was like, whoa, you're really loving that. I'm like, oh yeah, I really did. So she bought the book for me. Oh. And so it's warm, fuzzy memories there. But I remember just being, like, in love with the book, reading and everything. So of course, even when the movie comes out, a little bit older now, fond memories. And remember going and seeing this in theaters because of that and just enjoying that.
I saw it as well. I enjoyed it. Back in the day, loved the story. It was a little bit different kind of a thing. I don't have specific. I was here when this happened. I'm pretty sure I would have watched this on DVD or something when it came out. Doubt I went to theaters to go see it because this was early. This was the year. This was the second year of being able to go see anything. So I probably didn't go see this in theaters, but. Yeah, I had good memories of it, even thinking about rewatching it. The question was, how was Shia LaBeouf's performance going to hold up? That's always the question with him, is like big. He's kind of like the Nicolas Cage of our generation, of like people really love him really love to hate him. From Even Stevens fame, maybe watch the show. I will say the thing that came to my mind when I was watching this might have been the most understated Shia LaBeouf performance in his arsenal. Like, of all of his movies, his most, like, even keeled, not crazy, not over the top. Have you seen the videos of him saying the word no?
No.
Like, he would then go on to do a lot more, and the biggest ones, of course, being a lot of the Transformers movies, and then fall off the deep end and go into all kinds of other crazy things that happened in his life.
Is this, though, his first movie?
I have to look it up while you're looking at it, but
I'm looking at it. I'm pretty sure this is his
went straight from TV to this. So he doesn't have his sea legs on him yet to be able to push around and try new things. This is when he's really jumping over.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that. I think he did like 2 small movies when he was younger in 1998. But yeah, Holes is this first one.
He was in Dumb and Dumberer.
Yeah, I mean, you think he was big Even Stevens was a huge Disney Channel show. Like that was this, coming to the end of me still watching Disney Channel. And that was by far my favorite show on Disney Channel, watching Even Stevens all the time. He filmed Holes while still filming Even Stevens. What I read was like he would do Even Stevens in the morning, and then like afternoon and evening he'd be going out and working and filming Holes.
Hardworking man, that guy.
Yeah. I mean, I have nothing. Yes, he has had his crazy moments, but who hasn't? But at least in that period of time, I really I liked Shia LaBeouf.
It was just funny thinking back to all of like kind of who he became and like the type of actor he became and became known for. Just and to singular, like he's Shia LaBeouf. Like you just know what you're getting when you see him on camera. And so this was interesting to see him just a little bit more understated, like reserved, kind of and his character is literally like the guy who's like taking the brunt of all the force from the other I wanted to say inmates, but that's not the right word. All the other kids that are in this. No, but
inmates,
in this camp. Yeah. So that was just funny to me seeing him. But of course, when I saw Charlie from the West Wing in there, when they're driving by, I was like, oh, Charlie's back.
Yeah.
I knew we had to get our West Wing reference in there. Like we have to do, we're contractually obligated to do in every
anytime that we see them. Sorry, you made me go down a little bit of a Shia LaBeouf rabbit trail there, and
there's a lot of movies in here. 2005 to 2008 was hit. Like 2008 really was a Eagle Eye, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of Skull. The previous year before that was just 2007 Transformers. Disturbia, man.
He does. He's in the Wall Street movie, the remake Wall Street. No Money Never Sleeps. Yeah, he ends up doing quite a lot.
iRobot. I forgot he was an iRobot. Yeah. Charlie's Angels reboot. Dumb and Dumber. Constantine. Greatest game ever played. Bobby. Remember when we watched Bobby together, Eddie?
Yeah, he was the golden child.
Yeah, 05 to 2010.
Yeah,
man, what a run!
I mean, we could even pull it back to this. I mean, this is really his first film. This is kind of, I think, what starts setting him apart. Well, and especially when you have a hit TV show and then you have a fairly successful movie, things just start building upon each other. He's not the only one in this movie. This ends up having quite an incredible cast when you stop and you think about it. Sure, Dule Hill. Let's give credit where credit's due. Dule Hill, one of the greatest actors of all time. Why do you laugh at that? Sigourney Weaver is in this. John Voight is in this.
Being all of John Voight at that time.
Love. Patricia Arquette is in this. Tim Blake Nelson is in this. All like, they're all, at some of their highest peaks as well, serving it up. And I think that's what makes this movie so much fun. Sure, Shia LaBeouf is out there as caveman, your lead, but the ensemble. This is truly an ensemble movie. Like what makes this work and be the piece that it is the interaction of all the ensemble and everybody coming together and these weird adults in their roles.
Henry Winkler as Stanley's father.
Henry Winkler! How did I forget Henry Winkler's also in this?
But you're right. They did a good job with the cast and with the characters, especially of the boys together, kind of creating their own little world here. And you got X-Ray and Armpit, Zigzag, all of them kind of leaning into their own little world. And Zero is just so heartfelt and so warm. You just want to hold this guy and have all the best things for this little kid, and feel so bad. Like when that moment comes when he reveals his involvement in why Stanley's there. Like you just kind of feel, and you're like, oh, what's he gonna say here? Like I was like, I know that he doesn't go off on him and like desert him, but like what's gonna happen here? The other piece of it I thought they did well with this film, not only with the cast and with the group of the people, is I'm sure this is the way that I never read the book, but the way that you weren't just in the desert the whole entire time, going to the flashbacks of the other basically three storylines. You've got Stanley, the present day. You've got Stanley's father or great grandfather way back when that started this whole series of unfortunate events for their family. And then you've got the Kate Barlow story and Charlie. So that's kind of another like sideway or parallel story in with Stanley's great grandfather. And that kind of breaks it up a little bit, where if you were just seeing him dig holes every day, that's more what you do if you want to win somebody an Oscar. Is just have him go dig holes in the desert, AKA There Will Be Blood.
Yeah. No, I think that what makes this movie work is that they learned how to tell the interwoven parts of this story and pace them out well. You know, I mean, we learned from The Rookie, like you can't just shoehorn in a random backstory that doesn't really apply, but kind of applies, you know, like it has to have meaning and significance. And I think that's what's so great about this is, yes, you have all those storylines interweaving, but in the end, it's a great payoff. Like click, you know, you just see it all fall into place. And like I said, like the casting in this is fantastic. You've got just top rate actors. And if you didn't, this would come off as so cheesy, just so campy. If you didn't have, because it rides that line anyway. It rides the line of being, okay, there's just these moments where you're going, really? Okay. But if you didn't have the actors that you had, I think this would have just gone horribly wrong.
It definitely is cheesy in moments. And I think some of those old flashbacks with Charlie and Kate.
But they're kind of meant to be. I feel like they're tongue in cheek. Like they're winking at you a little bit like, yeah, we know what we're doing.
I'll give you that. Yeah, and all the flashbacks kind of are in that sheet, but you don't hate it. I didn't hate it. I was more just that's the time period, the years that they were making this. The quirkiness with John Voight and Tim Blake Nelson, like as Mr. Sir and Dr. Pendanski, you get it. Sigourney Weaver just like has some just innate ability. She just walks on set and you are immediately gripped and you're like, yes, I will do whatever you like. What do you, I believe you. You're the biggest person on this set right now.
Yeah, no, she is an actress that just carries a gravitas. I mean, she's number one on the poster as well. Like, and she's the biggest movie star in this.
Well, and it was also perfect timing because I just yesterday rewatched Avatar, the first one, because in what we're going to do next week, which is we're going to review the new Avatar movie for all you dying to know what we think about it.
Because it's a Disney movie now.
But that also means that we will have to put on pause our big Lizzie McGuire movie. That'll have to go another week later. I do actually have some team members that are waiting with bated breath for our review of that. But anyways, so it was funny seeing her in Avatar, then see her in this. Kind of a similar vibe, but she's so good at it. It's like, yes, we should have. There's a reason they say a Sigourney Weaver type character because she's so good at it.
Yeah. No, she's definitely kind of risen to that level and sells that whole character so well. So well. I feel like this also captures well the how do I even phrase this? Just kind of like the oddity of tween boys being together, like just the random conversations and stuff and different things, like just I don't know. I felt like it captures that quite well.
Couple of sound bites that I wrote down from this. I told you I was on the brink of no stink. That was as he finds a solution, mixing the peaches, and Henry Winkler when he mixes the peaches and the onions together and gets the thing he was looking for. The monologue: you take a bad boy, make him dig holes all day, and then you turn him into a good boy. It's just like, he's like, that's what our mission statement is here. I was like, that's super encouraging, man. Great for you. Or when after John Voight does all of his talking, and then the guy comes in, he's like, you may have done some bad things, but that doesn't make you a bad kid. I respect you, Stanley. Eddie, I respect you.
I remember more as a kid, and then even kind of going back to it, I love the whole like little piece of the rattlesnakes and the rattlesnake venom and everything in there, where it's just a wonderful scene when she's painting her nails. She said, this is my special nail polish. I make it myself. And you want to know my secret ingredient? Rattlesnake venom. I just love what it does to the coloring. It's just such a great little sinister line. I like that so much. And then, of course, it's perfectly harmless when it's dry. And then she scratches him and he has his mauled face for the rest of the time.
Eddie, what would your hole's name be, do you think?
Great question. Why did I not think of this?
Your hole's nickname.
Whoa.
Oh, this is perfect because we were at camp at that time in 2003.
Have you thought of yours?
I know what mine would be.
Okay, you go first.
MIA.
MIA?
Should I explain it to everybody?
Yes.
So, my first years at Lake Ann, I had a fever or something, and something happened, and like I wasn't feeling well. And without telling anybody, I would just walk off and go straight to the nurse's station. And then someone would turn around and go, "Where's JB? I can't find him. What is going on?" And it happened a couple of times where I just wasn't feeling well, and I just literally just got up and walked away. And so they just kept on the rest of that week would be like, "Where's JB? Where's JB?" So that's why I think my name would have been MIA.
I don't think any name would be flattering for me. It would have something to do with talking too much.
Well, Ranger Eddie.
Oh, now, yes, Ranger Eddie would be the nickname. But oh man. So the floor I lived on at Moody, I'm representing Moody. We were on floor 13, which was the only residential 13th floor in the whole city of Chicago. After your first semester, you were given a floor name. Did I ever tell you what my floor name was?
I don't know if you did.
I was the floor drama queen. Yeah. Like I said, not super flattering, but pretty accurate. So I'll go with my floor name. I would probably end up as the whole drama queen, the
Eddie,
desert drama queen.
Eddie, I can fix that.
Ow.
That line was funny because it's like, are you just stealing from The Princess Bride? As you wish. I can fix that. Is that I can, yeah. I was about to say I can wish. Yeah, that was definitely like a wah, wah. And then he's like, she's crying. No idea why she's crying, but I can fix that. And kisses her, just like, come on. And the Madame Zeroni stuff, that I think that's where you kind of realize, okay, this is supposed to be campy. This is supposed to be tongue in cheek, not totally real, because her whole character and stuff. I don't know why it took me forever once he said that his name was Zeroni was like, why didn't I pick up on that until he's literally carrying him up a mountain?
Yeah.
And it's just like, is he dead right now?
Well, and I think this is they knew their audience, and they crafted this movie to that. Like, even as I go back and watch it now, it's enjoyable, but it's more enjoyable for some of the nostalgia reasons than like, oh, this is a really good movie. You know, like it is a young adult movie, and they just pitched it right down the center for that.
I would agree. Any other last things you wanna say about this film?
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I think I've said all.
Gone down memory lane.
It's always good when, you know, there are these. It is funny where certain things just hit you at certain times and they stick with you. And then there are other things that hit you at certain times and are really amazing, and then you go back to them and you're like, that was really good there. And I feel like this is kind of that for me, where it's like, not all of that like comes rush. I still enjoy this. I think I'm probably going to give it a higher rating than you would be my guess. But it's not one where it still carries with me. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Or I feel like Treasure Planet, like we reviewed last week. We're like, loved it then, still love it today. You know, it held for me. This, loved it then. Like, if you would ask me then, I probably would have given it 5 gummy worms. Now, okay, doesn't hold as much with me.
So what do you rate this memory lane turn with holes?
I would probably give it a 3.5.
Okay.
What do you?
I was going to say a 3. And now I'm worried to look back at what the other movies I ranked. And this is where you're going to do it for me.
I don't have it. I didn't pull it up. I'm not going to do that to you. I know I am guilty of.
I'm going to go with a 3 because I felt like I enjoyed it. It held my attention throughout the entire movie. There's a couple montage sequences that I might have skipped ahead on, but
you skipped a montage?
I was also running out of time because we moved it. Like I said, oh yeah, I'll do it.
True.
And
I
then
moved it up on you.
Spent too much time up in the attic trying to move some cords around and stuff like that, and I needed to get it done. But I still enjoyed it, and I may have even listened to it on when I was driving somewhere. I listened to it like a podcast. But no, I was intrigued with because I forgot what happened in it. I kind of had some idea, and you kind of know it's not like crazy what's happening, but you've got the 3 converging storylines, and you've got what they're digging for, trying to remember what it is and what happens to them, where they go to. I know I slightly remember them running out into the desert and stuff. So I was intrigued and I was held on, and I wasn't cringing this entire movie. So that's why I kind of give it a 3. Might not be.
You'll watch it again?
I might watch it again.
Yeah. No, I think this will be one of those movies. Like I immediately I'm like, I wonder if my nephews have seen this. They're at that age that this would be perfect.
They probably would.
I gotta see. They'll be here in a week, but we've got movies already planned. Louis gets introduced to Star Wars next week.
It's the big Star Wars time.
It's the big Star Wars time.
You can have a big update for us next Sunday when we
No, it won't be next Sunday. It'll be in the new year. Yeah. Because they don't get here until a week from tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to have to plan out when we're going to record all these with all the traveling and stuff like that.
I know.
Or maybe should we make next week the last one of the year?
Oh, certainly. Yes. I think next week will have to be our last one of the year.
Going to have to break some people's hearts and tell them they're going to have to wait a little bit longer for Lizzie McGuire.
For Lizzie McGuire. Sorry.
It's probably a good choice though, but with all the crazy schedules and.
Well, I can spoil the Lizzie McGuire thing. I will end up liking it more than JB.
I don't know. It was the twins, right? The twins and the swapping and stuff like that, right?
This is going to be fun.
It's going to be a good one. I'm very intrigued by it, but yep. So with that, your life has been, again, forever changed by another episode of Honey, We Made a Disney Podcast.
Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to your other favorite podcasts. And while you're there, please give us a 5-star review, or better yet, share it with one of your best friends.
You can also check us out at honeywemade.com, where you can see our full movie list as we go through all the Disney movies from 1988 to 2005, also known as our childhood. But next week, like we said, we're going to take a break from that, from our normal schedule, so we can review Avatar: Way of Water.
Thank you for listening, and remember, when you spend your whole life living in a hole, the only way you can go is up.